Welcome back to another edition of the Jagged Edge. This is episode 81 for us. This is Ian here along with Chris.
I have a cookie.
Lucky. I'm going to have some soon, real soon.
I made some cookies. I sent you some, but I have them fresher.
Killing me. Chocolate chip, too. This is it's the time of year to have them, people. Whether it's you got the hot chocolate, the cider by the fireplace, the brownies and cookies, whatever you do, warm me up. It's that season. Man, I haven't really, I haven't baked anything yet. I'm going to be starting the prep next week. And I go pretty all out. My family, we love cooking for Christmas and the whole layout, the desserts and all that. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait.
I don't cook, I don't bake, except for one time a year. I'll make some cookies and some brownies.
Okay. Now, I got to ask this. Do you have the tall glass of milk?
No.
Oh, you don't do that. Okay.
Wow.
How come?
No, that's all right.
Just all right. Fair enough. Stay away from. Well, okay. Well, hold up. Before I move on, what do you? Aren't you like dry? Like, what do you wash that down with?
No, I just got a root beer.
Okay. All right. I can deal with that. Deal with that. Cream soda, I hope.
No.
Okay. All right, regular. I'll ease up.
But you're not. You're not easy enough. No. You have plenty of things to get to and complain about this week. Bug me about milk.
Oh, we do. As much as I'd love to sit here and talk about desserts, we
bug me about my milk and drink choices.
See, yeah. I get over this harassment. I need to go over and start harassing the thing.
Just for that, I'm going to have to harass you. I'm going to have to get another cookie.
This guy. That's
all right. You go ahead and introduce the first topic. I'm just going to get a cookie.
All right. I'll get over this at some point. Anyway, got a whole lot on our plate, people. Event-wise, we're just coming off of the Video Game Awards, and also trailers haven't slowed down. Had some very important trailers to come out.
Trailers have ramped up.
Oh, big time. We got
a couple big ones this week, but we're going to have a lot here in the next few.
Oh yeah. So let's look right at the top of our list here. Avengers 4. Sure enough, it's called Endgame. I remember, what was that, about a month or so ago, when we were looking at that little teaser picture Marvel put out on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Russo brothers put that out.
Yep, the Russo brothers. Yep. Everybody was guessing at the name, and I know Endgame was one of the things that popped up. I think you and I talked about it, and that was another name that popped up between us two. But yeah, here it is. Avengers 4 Endgame. You got the teaser release. We're seeing some of the aftermath of the, spoiler alert, please tell me you've seen it, of Thanos' snap.
You're. By the way, I mean, if you haven't seen it now, and we're talking about teasers and stuff now. It's your fault if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, it's kind of the singular most consequential event that's happened in MCU. But hey, we see a couple of perspectives here. We kick off the trailer with Tony Stark, his perspective. Obviously, he's trying to make his way back. At least he made it off Titan, but he is stuck.
We talked about that a little bit.
We did.
And not a lot of people have brought that up. But I know you and I talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I brought it up on a couple occasions. I'm like, how the hell is Iron Man getting home?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the only two people left are him and Nebula.
Pretty much.
And there it is. She's stranded. They are in Quill's ship, but it seems like it's been damaged.
Right.
Because, the whole moon that Thanos threw at everybody.
That thing, yeah. Just a real grim situation. Tony's just sitting through, just sort of recounting everything, saying that he's, at that point at least, he'd already run out of food, run out of water. Oxygen was on its way out, and then we get a pan away. In Marvel style, of course, that's just the start of the teaser. A lot of this focuses around Cap, and also Scarlet Joe, back as the Black Widow, of course. It'd be weird if we had someone else at this point.
Jeez, for a second there, I thought you forgot the name.
No,
you actually called it Scarlet Joe.
I'm there.
There's sort of a name there.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of like my cookie, where I had a bigger cookie, but then I ate some of it, and then I had less of a cookie. But I don't call it chocolate cho or whatever.
It would be chocolate chai, chocolate chip.
No, it's still a chocolate chip cookie.
All right, there you go.
All right, I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, this teaser was really short, and there really wasn't a lot into it.
No.
But it confirmed a lot of things. There's some hidden things in there. I mean, the Iron Man thing is notable. A lot of people thinking that he's alone on that ship. I don't actually think he is. I think Nebula's on there. You do get a quick glimpse of her in this thing, and that does look like that's the inside of that ship. So, but yeah, no, you got Scarlett Johansson. You got Steve Rogers having a good cry there.
Yeah.
Still, the last time we saw him, he's like, oh man,
yeah,
and yeah, he's having a big old cry about the whole thing, and you got Bruce Banner looking at some pictures of some people that they think are missing or dead,
right?
Notable,
right?
Scott Lang is on there. Of course, we find out as well as we knew, and then they start to find out he's not dead.
Right. Now that is, as gloomy as this all is, that is one ray of hope here. Him showing up at the door now.
And did you notice the truck or the vehicle he had?
I did. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really interested in the backstory behind that. Bear in mind, this goes back to the ending of Ant-Man 2. That the snap happened and his entire crew, Hank and everyone just gone. And he's stuck in...
That's some bad luck right there, though.
That was terrible luck. Terrible luck. So, my question was, man, what's the story behind that? How does he get out of that, and how does he go... find them? That was a surprise to me. I thought there was, I thought that reveal was going to go down a little different. So,
well, the giant ant came and got him. As he was playing the drums.
Duh, right?
Look at his watch. Like, oh, I gotta go because he can talk now and he understands things because he's bigger now, so he has a bigger brain. No, yeah, that's a good question. How'd he get out of that?
Right.
Clearly he does. And I mean, so the interesting thing is that we had heard that Avengers 4 was going to start several years in the future. And I think we're still going to get there, and I think the vast majority of the movie is going to be spent there. But it does look like, especially with Iron Man and in the Guardians ship and all that we are going to get some time before that. Right. But I still think that the majority of this will take place several years later.
Yeah.
We have Farmer Thanos.
We do. Yes, we do.
You have his suit of armor used as a scarecrow right out of the comics. Yeah, but he's a farmer, and I guess he's limping.
Right.
And it's been confirmed that so this is spoilers. This wasn't in the trailer, although you could see him limping. That him using the gauntlet and what he had done did take a toll on his body.
Right.
And that the gauntlet is not working properly.
Good confirmation, all things considered. We were talking about that. We knew that after the snap, obviously it was still functional. One, he was able to walk away from having an axe embedded in his chest. Two,
well, no, you know what? Somebody pointed out to me, and I saw it. In slow motion. He actually heals himself as he backs out of that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like if you watch it in slow-mo, you can see that he doesn't have a wound for where that giant magical axe made by a handless dwarf. Just shoved right in, Thor just shoved right in his chest. So he is healed. It's like the last thing he does with the gauntlet is that he heals himself and he teleports out of there.
I was about to say, yeah. Let's see. That had to be what, the reality, Jim?
Yeah. I'd have to say overall that would probably be the
reality, followed by probably what was that space he uses to jump between places.
Oh yeah, that's obviously the blue one there. Yeah. What was the Tesseract?
Wild, but it's funny. The whole farmer deal went from a joke. Literally, I remember I was telling some of my friends that I said, well, I guess he's just going to be Farmer John and his 10 acres now. But
something brought up an interesting question to me. You have the Infinity Gem,
right?
And instead of decimating half of all living beings, why don't you just create more planets for people?
I mean, if the universe is still under assumed expansion and everything is growing further and further apart, you would think that would generate some more space.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Thanos, I understand. You're trying to solve a problem here, but if you gave it more than 10 seconds of thought, like, well, I'm just going to have to kill half of everybody. and instead, you give it some thought, like, oh, well, I have the Infinity Gem. I want to have a complete star chart of all planets where people can live and survive.
There you go.
And then it's like, okay, well, now here's a bunch of ships for them to go.
Hey, you know,
Just saying, people say,
hey,
because
true.
some people say, let's Thanos, he's really not a bad guy. He really wasn't wrong. No, he's a genocidal
No,
maniac.
he's a bad dude.
Killed trillions. Most notable and obvious evidence of this is that his way of solving problems is to decimate half of everyone.
Yep. I think
Nothing bigger.
even with that solution on the table, I felt him being stuffed by the council on his home planet. Them not going with his idea just set him on that path even further. He's basically saying, look, this is the only way to do it. This is going to work. Okay, you won't let me do it? All right, I'll go find a way to do it on a grand scale.
Something to be said for small minds having a massive amount of power.
See?
You get small solutions that hurt people.
Well said. Well said. So, hey,
what else? Oh, one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yes. Get to see him.
Burton's back.
Yes.
He's Ronin now, but he's Hawkeye.
Right.
And he looks badass.
Yes, he does.
Oh my gosh! And what's the story with him? That could have been somewhere in Japan, but it could have been any Asian culture, really, from what we were able to see, or from what I was able to glimpse of it. Why?
Yeah. That blade of his was sick.
Yeah. I mean, the assumed and I think correct story is that from the snap, most, if not all, of his family was turned to dust, and so obviously, I mean, he looked. I don't think we've got a more grizzled person now. That look on his face was just like, I always say in those situations, give him a kitten, but I'm pretty sure he'd snap the kitten's neck right away. I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with your kitten. Whatever. Sure. Yeah, I mean, but why is he there? What's the story behind that? Why is he in some Asian cultured city? I guess it could have been like Chinatown or something, but with half of everybody gone, I would have to say the crime rate. Well, the crime rate could have gone either way, right?
Right.
Because the crime rate could have dropped, but at the same time, most of the criminals could have stayed with the snap, and we lost a bunch of cops.
This is true.
And maybe crime went into the shitter. So I don't know, but interesting stuff.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's like I said, there's a lot. And basically, this thing confirmed. This trailer confirmed a few things, but including the name Endgame, which I'm not a fan of, but does make complete sense.
It does. It does.
The
other thing too, you commented about possible crime rates. I'm of the belief that a lot more people died on Snap Day than just half, because you got to think too, commercial airliners. If a pilot happened to be caught in Snap, same goes for...
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, and we got to see a clip of one at the end of Avengers. Remember that helicopter that was crashed right into a building when Nick Fury was getting out of the car? Stuff like that. I mean, so obviously you have a ton of casualties from just basic everyday things too. I think that may well factor into. It's crazy.
No.
Can't wait.
5 months away, April 26th.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And April's shaping up to be epic. We're going to talk more about April a little later in this show. I think you know where I'm going with that.
I'm going to need to clone myself for April. I definitely need one more me, maybe two.
Right.
Maybe two.
Well, I hope you get a gauntlet. Oh well.
Oh man, if I had an Infinity Gauntlet, I'd be righting some wrongs.
Yeah, there'd be some fixing too.
That's right.
I love it. Hey, there's one other one we got here with Marvel. That's the Captain Marvel second trailer got released for that. We got to see a whole lot more of Captain Marvel herself in action. A little bit more of the backstory built up, less of the whole blockbuster video drop, and of course, more Grandma being punched in the face.
Grandma doing a karate backflip.
Yeah.
Too, right? Confirmation that was a Skrull.
Yes.
As most people have figured. Here's the thing. Now, I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I laughed. And I would have had it not been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just from what I know of the Marvel Universe. Right. But did you snicker or laugh as well when Captain Marvel's like, when she's talking to Samuel L. Jackson, she says the Krees are warrior heroes?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Someone is deluded. Someone's been fed a big bunch of garbage. Kree are heroes? All right.
Warrior hero.
I mean, it's hilarious. Like every single person that's part of her team, they're super villains.
Yeah.
So you're this is getting fleshed out for us a bit. I think this was a much better trailer. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to this.
Same.
You go ahead and say what you got to say on here because I already told you I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant about this.
Sure. For you, the one thing I want to note here is, and I was saying this to my friends coming out of Avengers 3, that the snap is such a massive event that this is going to require a cosmic level correction. So I was starting to think of, man, who could fill those shoes? Of course, we know who. We see the small teaser for Captain Marvel given to us.
Scott Lang.
Dang it! Beat me to it.
Yeah. He's going to do it.
But thinking of all that too, I know my mind was kind of drifting at first to, okay, wait, is this where they actually really get into Silver Surfer, Galactus or something crazy like that at this point? I think it's important to show the scale of a character like this. There's still a lot of Marvel fans out there who might not even be familiar with Captain Marvel or really, the whole power set and whatnot. But this is a very, very powerful character. I mean, I think we get, you really feel the weight of that more in this trailer, and you get more of a taste of that. So I really like that part of it, especially near the end. So
yeah, cool with the helmet as well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. How many movies with Brie Larson have you seen?
0.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any either. No. I think I mentioned in the teaser trailer we got that, and a lot of people commented how she seems very stiff, and she does. Mm-hmm. She does. But you know what? That's intentional.
Right.
And this time around, I went out and I actually found myself some footage of Brie Larson and some of the other roles that she's played. And at this point, I have no doubt that this is intentional. She's acting. She's playing a role. This isn't a lack of acting ability. This isn't her real personality.
Right.
She's acting. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, look, even the hints that were given, like you said, she's been fed a bunch of baloney. This is someone who's really been just, especially her mind, rebuilt from the ground up.
I love that you said bunch of baloney.
Yep.
I've heard that in about 30 years.
I was always partial to that.
Fed a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
Was it in bread? Tell me it was at least in some bread. Tell me it was a bologna sandwich.
No, it was a cold cut, man.
Bologna's gross, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think it would be hard to make that type of transition believable, or the type of transformation their eyes are stoking her up for. With her real memories interjecting into what the false things she's actually been implanted and all that. There has to be some stiffness that comes along with that. So I think it's way too early to
Well, and also just talking about the characters themselves, talking about Carol Danvers, talking about Captain Marvel. She is a fairly stoic character,
right?
We're not talking about Captain Marvel where she wore like a one piece and called that a superhero costume,
right?
With a scarf tied around her waist. All right, this is the Carol Danvers. This is the comic, the Captain Marvel that they've been building up for the last 4 or 5 years now. A little bit longer than that.
Right.
And she has not been immensely popular. They've rebooted her comic a couple times now, trying to get people to grab on, and they're not really grabbing on. Okay,
right.
All right. So, but she's still a cool character, and she's and I definitely think that this is another time where bringing this character onto film is going to do much more for her than it has in the comic.
Right.
Okay. All right. I bring all this up because I guess I went down the wrong hallway on the internet this week after this trailer, because generally this trailer has not been well received. In fact, in general, I would say it's been getting a little bit less of a enthusiastic reaction than most, and you can cite that for whatever reason you want. But there's definitely a faction of the people who are not happy about this, who are bitching and moaning about SJW stuff.
Oh.
And about, I have to say this. And look, normally I can see some merit in where people are coming from when they start bitching about the SAW stuff. Not that I agree with it, but I can at least see their perspective.
Sure.
And at least trace down where they're coming from. They're off. They're off on this one. This is bullshit. And the fact that there's so many people bitching about, it got to the point. I usually have a pretty good stomach for this stuff, even if it's bothering me. I have a high tolerance.
Right.
But if I hear one more person say that she just needs to smile, I'm gonna smack someone. The character's not smiling for a reason. This is why I was bringing up Brie Larson and her ability to act. She's a really good actress from what I was able to see, and everybody says she's a really good actress who knows her stuff. And I didn't tonight, so I checked it out, researched it a little bit. She's a really good actress, and most of her roles are very different from what we've seen. This is an obvious and intended range and direction they're going with this character, with how she's acting and what you're seeing on screen.
Right.
And generally, I can at least trace and understand where they're coming from. But this whole, I've heard some of the most horrible sexist garbage coming from people for this trailer, and it's really pissing me off. There's nothing wrong with how now, and again, I'm talking about what I've seen so far. But so are they,
right?
And the people that I'm addressing, they're talking. They're coming from the perspective of what they've seen so far, and so am I. I may have a completely different perspective in 4 months after I've seen this movie, and then I'll say, you know what, they dropped a ball on this. Sure. I don't think I'm going to, especially from what I know about Captain Marvel from the comics, the modern one, right? The one that this character is based off of. I mean. Can you see any reason why in that trailer why she would have been smiling about anything?
No, flat out no. I mean,
so why should she be smiling?
Look, except maybe trading some awkward banter with Nick Fury or something. But even then, she's not going to be accustomed to the same.
And that would depend on her personality.
It would. It would. It's just. It's this idea. I don't know. Maybe this goes back to like.
I guess the point I'm getting to is the obvious overwhelming reason why people are like, she should just smile. It's like she'd have more of a personality. It's because she's a woman.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to
that's why they're saying that, and that really pisses me off.
Yeah, the old golden age, Superman stuff. Oh, female supporting character, smile, just smile.
Yeah, you look so much prettier if you smile. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, we're talking about a woman who effectively has spent most of, or let's just say an unknown amount of time thinking she's an alien in space, who has some kind of recollection that she was on this planet at some point. I feel kind of stupid dissecting it to this point, but I really, like I said, I went down the wrong hallway on the internet this week, and just some of the just horrible sexist garbage that I found that people were commenting about with this trailer. I mean, you guys really just need to go back under your rock and stay there.
There you have it.
It's, what's it hurting? Even if you don't want to see a female lead in the MCU, what's it hurting? I guess
ego.
I guess. I mean, it's like I don't think I ever shared this in the show, but that story I told you when I was at Thor Ragnarok. You remember that?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
I was sitting in the theater, and what was it? Yeah, Thor's talking. He's talking to Hela, and he says I can't really remember the exact lines, but he says to her, "You know what the problem is about you being on the throne?" And there's a pause, and the guy next to me says, "You're a woman." I mean, I remember looking over to him. I'm like, they still make people like you?
Just makes you cringe all over.
I know. I mean, Jesus, what is your problem here? It's been almost 11 years for the MCU. They're just finally now getting into their first leading female role, which is kind of sad. But that being said, they have not had access to most of their leading roles for women.
Right.
There's definitely something they could have been said for She-Hulk, and they could have done She-Hulk anytime.
Sure.
There's a handful of others, but really, and there's not a lot. Granted, but there is Captain Marvel, and this is fine. It fits what they need for the story perfectly. And she's playing the character just fine. She doesn't need to smile, and I'm sure she'll smile at least once in the movie. Don't worry about it. I can't. I'm excuse me. I mean, and normally, especially in the last couple of years, with all this SJW stuff that's come up, and all the comments that people have had, it's been getting really muddled up with actual credible arguments that people have had. Like Ray from the new sequel trilogy is a good example. There's legitimate reasons to complain about that character.
Right.
And some of the things they've been doing with that character. The fact that it's a woman is not one of them.
Right.
But it's been getting muddled up with a bunch of other stuff. So you have people who disagree with one factor about the Mary Sue thing, and they're ranting together about that. So it's been getting really muddled up, and you've seen this time and again with a number of SJW stuff that's come up. Like again with Marvel Comics and what I know I've been going really long on this. I don't care. Again with Marvel Comics in the last few years, how they were changing they were creating new versions of characters and trying to put in they were minorities or they were gendered, so that people were there was a lot of legitimate complaints about that. That is not this.
No.
This character has been around since, I think, the 50s, but definitely the 60s. We're looking at least 40-some years.
Oh, yeah.
All right. She has been at Cosmic Powers for at least... Because I don't think she started out as quite as powerful as she is now, for 30-some years.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with this. This is not SJW garbage. All right? And Brie Larson in the costume she's wearing, looks to be a very faithful portrayal of what we've seen in the comics, and everything looks fine. Carol Danvers is not a happy-go-lucky person. She doesn't walk around and smile at people. She's got a lot of things on her mind. She's got a lot of issues that she's dealing with. This is fine. Just, shut up.
Chill out.
Yeah. Just put your garbage somewhere else. All right, rant over. I'm sorry, but this really pissed me off. I couldn't believe the shit I'd seen with this.
It's sort of the last thing I'd expect to hear of all things you could add to or trailer review or an opinion on it. So, signs of the times, man. No.
Yeah, I guess.
Something.
Signs of a different time, I should say.
So this is what happens post-snap. Oh, well.
Sorry it took so long with it.
Well, hey, we're still on top of your trailers anyway, so
I'm gonna get happy and eat another cookie.
See?
All right.
With root beer.
That's right.
Take a sip. All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, December is usually a really good time for trailers, and look, we're getting no shortage of that this time. Besides what we just mentioned, we got some others floating around the rumor mill here. Now, one of which is a trailer for Godzilla 2. That's supposed to be this weekend-ish. Heck, also right in line that we might even get the first look at the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer.
Yeah, so a little bit of an update on that. I guess I just checked in the last hour. The Godzilla trailer's not out yet, but the Spider-Man one, I guess, is postponed. A lot of this is happening at Comic-Con Experience in Brazil.
Ah, okay.
And I guess the Spider-Man one's not coming out, and I haven't seen the Godzilla one yet.
Okay. Still a little bit of mileage to go there. Now, as far as what we do have, though, now, Men in Black International, that's already had the trailer released during that very event, by the way. So
yeah, it's not on that yet, but yeah.
We were talking about this before the show. I love that. You got Thor and his Valkyrie as Men in Black agents. It's it's great. It's great.
Just wait for all the complaints from all the assholes because it's not two men like it used to.
At this rate, maybe. Also, it looks like we might get something for Frozen 2 in Star Wars.
Hey, that was what I was looking for.
Yeah, let it go, Chris. Let it go. Also,
no, I want Frozen.
Actually, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised you want Frozen more than Star Wars right now.
I don't. Yeah, that's true. You know what though? You know what they need? They need to come out with something for Star Wars. This thing's been stewing pretty much all year, and they need to come out with a really good, quick teaser for this that's going to actually make some people optimistic about it.
They do. A.K.A. Luke reappearing, but
with an ice cream cone.
There you go.
It's like he breaks the fourth wall and looks right into the camera and holds it. Ice cream cone.
Oh, that's rich. Oh man. So we're gonna stay on dock for those. See what the rest was gonna come out. In fact, we delayed a little bit of our recording because we wanted to see what other pieces of news might come out. Because it's supposed to be a pretty heavy this weekend. But yeah, nothing much. Still Sunday. We'll keep our eye out. But now, as for stuff that we already have out in the market, so check this out. Aquaman is bringing in some serious numbers in China. We have reports on that it's already brought in 24.6 million on opening day. It's expected to bring in around 80 million for the whole weekend. If that's the case, that's going to make this the highest grossing weekend for a DCU film to date. This is coming out here in the U.S. in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right on.
China is very hit or miss with the superhero movies.
They are. They are. But hey, we said it. We want DC to succeed too. I would love for this to do really well here as well. I hope it does. Jason Momoa is
my man.
My man, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got so used to it. Dude, he's like the Randy Savage.
He is. That's why people love it.
It's great. So we're gonna have a pretty good panel for this and for the review. I think Yubi and Isaac are gonna be checking this one out.
Yep.
Coming right up. So
I think that's gonna be the last one of the year.
Cool. Good note to end on. Out of a superhero pack.
We'll see if it's a good note to end on.
I hope
it's a note to end on.
It's a note.
We know that. It's that or Bumblebee. So
yeah,
I'll put my bets on Aquaman over Bumblebee. I think we'll put that one up last.
Same here. No, same here. No, I can go with that. Cool. Well, hey, remember that Resident Evil reboot we were just talking about? Well, look, it's got a director. The report from Variety just this week that Johannes Roberts has been brought in by Constantine Films to direct the Resident Evil movie reboot. Best known for his film 47 Meters Down. This was a lot like the writer for the film. He also has a shorter resume of just overall work, his overall portfolio to date. But you're saying, hey, at least it's something, right?
Yeah. So I went and checked out. I'd heard of 47 Meters Down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna double check the trailer for it again. It actually makes me feel a little bit better. That looked like it had some genuine scares to it.
Cool.
But yeah, you've got some really green people working on this.
Yeah. That whole.
I mean, after coming out of Robin Hood.
That's still haunting you, huh?
Yeah. As Isaac and I talked about in the review for that guy hadn't. They'd never written anything before.
Oh my.
They still haven't.
Cold.
It was bad. Cold. It was really bad.
Cold.
I'm still debating in my head which one was worse, that or how it ends. One of them was the worst of the year.
Well, did Robin Hood at least have an ending? I mean, we knew how it ended, right?
No.
Okay.
Not really. It kind of said it tries to set it up so blah blah blah. It tries to set itself up for a sequel, if you can believe that shit.
Oh no.
So yeah, it does kind of have an ending, but yeah.
All right.
More than the movie How It Ends, which you would think would have an ending.
I think my favorite was your comment on that. We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It's almost like somebody played a prank on us. Yeah. It's like, we were punked. Netflix punked us. They had us watch How It Ends for 2 hours, and then it has no ending.
Then we don't know how it ends. Terrible.
Yeah,
right.
so I mean, I feel a little bit better about this just from seeing the trailer for 47 meters down, and that this guy's
Good.
he's done scares, so that's a little bit more helpful. But really, this crew's very green so far. So
I know you had some real feels to share about this one last time
yeah,
because you
well,
you are
that's
you're
mainly because he's doing Resident Evil and Mortal Kombat, the
right,
writer. So
right.
yeah, I'm scared.
Rightfully so. So, oh, good. That's some good news.
But that being said, Constantine Films is making this reboot a priority. So
Good.
that means it's going to either be. I think that leans it more towards it possibly being good, but I think that also means that if it ends up bad, it's going to end up being really bad because because whatever direction they decided to go in, they really leaned into it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's go
all
big or go
right,
home, man.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
And I just there's some really important source material there that they're handling. That's something that's near and dear. I think not just to gamers, but people who've really just come into RE period who just love it as a franchise. So here's a toast. Hope it's
Yeah.
I got high hopes, man. I hope it's good. Whenever we see it. All right. Switching gears here, we're looking more at something that we weren't very happy with here at this channel.
I know I
That's
was really happy with.
yeah, but we found some interesting things here. This is about the PlayStation Classic now. The release, the PS Mini, it's here. It's been released this week. Now, this console is being, I can even say console. It doesn't even feel right saying that, but I'll go with it anyway. It's been pretty much panned across the board for just a pretty just chunky, just sloppy lineup. There's a couple things that are obvious. We were saying Tekken 3, FF7, etc. But uh, there's so many other things. As we've said before, have come out on PlayStation 1 that you just see as iconic that we don't see with this release. It just really hurts. It aches. So what's some of Sony's choices they made for this? So this is going to be running on the PAL settings on 50 hertz. Funniest part is that is actually hindering the performance and or gameplay for certain games like Tekken 3. Now, I do have a bit of experience with both PAL and NTSC. I know I was forced to use PAL when I was in the UK for a bit.
I was hoping you'd get into this.
Yeah, man, that's all we'd run on. And I remember way back when. I think that the thing that I was worried about most was, oh man, my PlayStation collection. Because see, my collection wasn't too big when I moved. I had like Road Rash, like FF7, Mega Man, and stuff like that. But I had to get a new PlayStation when I moved. I kept my games and stuff like that in storage. But getting the new system, and just seeing how things ran, yeah, I can definitely confirm, especially playing Tekken 3 there, because I bought Tekken 3. That was my launch party for it there. But then I also got it when I got back, and I did notice a difference. Specifically,
Yeah, there's a big difference.
yeah, it's kind of surprised me because I remember I went in. The first thing I did, I kind of stopped. I remember I reset, and then I checked my disc. I'm like, is my stuff scratched? Am I missing something? Is this just running weird or? Yeah, and I didn't know the difference between this for a long, long time. It wasn't until I think I really started to look into modding because I was considering doing the whole soldering board and everything, but I ended up getting like a swap disc to play some of my import games and stuff like that. And not all of them played cross. Like I think when I tried to put in some of my PAL games on NTSC with the swap, it was just in black and white. I could get it to run, but I could get no color. And then others I'd have some issues, but I'd say about 85% of games I got to run like that. But yeah, point is, end of the day, there is a stark difference between the two settings and what you have running, and why that we have this choice here. Just you already have a kind of rough lineup is just a kind of like a double entente. Ouch.
No, no.
So the system itself is running the same open source emulator as the PCSX.
Yep. So you literally just paid $100 for something you could download for free.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they did.
Ah,
That's exactly what they did.
come on.
They grabbed a free emulator.
As soon as I started reading that, I'm like, are you kidding? Like, this is what most of us go out there and do if we want to go play like the old school really old school SF Alpha or something.
I mean, that feels like it should be. That whole scenario feels like it should be at the end of a GI Joe episode, and then you're teaching a kid right from wrong. But it's okay to steal them because that's what Sony did. Sony just stole the emulator. Well, yeah, but Billy, they own the rights of those games. They at least license them out, and that's the difference. And no one's half the battle. Some shit like that.
Winners don't do drugs. Just throw that in somewhere. I don't know. What was that they used to have in the arcades? I could have sworn they had something like that when you started up, like the Simpsons arcade or Turtles in Time. Did you ever see that? The big old Federal warning.
Yeah, it was something just like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Drugs. Of course, Mortal Kombat had their own thing with something about knowledge is power or something like that.
Cool. But
and now just shove your fist through someone's face.
Right. I was about to say now go do a fatality. But remember, kids,
if you're gonna do a fatality, you need to know how to do it right. You're gonna want to cut between this area and this area on the neck. If you cut too high, you won't get the right kind of blood flow. If you cut too low, it's just going to pour out. It won't squirt out properly.
Be sure to infuse maximum levels of salt in your opponent.
That's right. Next week we'll have Scorpion teach you about the proper level of heat in the flame to get him so that maximum charge with maximum pain.
You really should have run one of those segments back in the 90s. Yeah, it would have been good. Yeah. Looking at what the rest of some of the stuff we're seeing on the PlayStation Classic here, there are some random. It's important to note here. There's some random PC keyboards that are going to allow direct access to the emulator setting system. Now here's
just plug it in.
Here's where things get really goofy. Okay, so you do this. And this allows you to just go muck around with all kinds of things in the system settings. That includes some visual options for what you can do with the NES in the SNES Mini. Now, then that
things that you can't do with this thing otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And most interesting though is that the source code for about 3 dozen other games actually exist on the console itself. So, really, you're looking at this. And this is really giving a list of other possible games that were intended to actually be out, to be part of the release, but they just weren't. And I don't know. I can't even call this a proper catharsis because we're seeing a lot of games here that we talked about, what we would have wanted to see.
A lot of games that we picked.
A ton of them.
I would say even between our picks of games that we thought were going to be on the console and honorable mentions,
right?
It's the majority of this list.
It is, absolutely. Just looking at this, I mean, some of the breakdown. I mean, do you want me to go through all of them? Or you want me just to hit some?
Don't
of the
go
keys?
through all of them. Just go through the ones that people would. I mean, some of these. Like, does anyone know what Colin McRae Rally is?
I was just looking at that.
There's some bad ones too. These aren't all A-listers.
No, it's not. But let's take a look. This one was real beloved. Guys. I remember how excited a lot of people were to see some of the other Square casts like in a fighting game. This is one of the first fighting games where you had some RPG characters. Cloud and Gang showed up in that, and that was a one-off game that never got a follow-up. Fighting Force, that game was freaking awesome. I love that. I think I always played as Hawk. It was Hawk or Smasher, usually Hawk. It's an awesome. I love beat 'em ups anyway. I mean, you keep going through the list. I mean, Legacy of Kain. We wanted to see that so badly, and sure enough,
we picked that one. But we did that because it was a great game for the PlayStation, but also because we thought that it was the proper representation for what Eidos had done.
Right.
Kind of as a representation also for Tomb Raider, which is done by the same company.
Exactly.
But we thought because we only had 15 spots.
Exactly.
So that was one that we picked. Yeah.
And some we'd even talked about. I know that we're in our list. I know I mentioned Suikoden. Well, here you go. Here it is, or here in the list. Another one that I was surprised didn't make it in. That was from the same art concept team behind FF Tactics. You have Vagrant Story, another awesome game, by the way. Never had a full mention in it here. Parasite Eve, there you are. I mean,
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, like
the rapper.
Paul Rapper, yeah. It was just
Street Fighter Alpha 3,
Yeah.
the Tomb 1 and 2, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2,
Yep.
Wild Arms. There's a, there could be any various reasons here. These could have been some that they'd hoped to get in, but they couldn't get the license for it, or it was going to cost more than they wanted to spend, or whatever. There's all kinds of various reasons for this. But these were games that were intended for, at some point, in some way, to be on this thing.
Oh yeah.
And they weren't.
Man.
So, like I said before we did the show, I'm going to fix this.
Here we go.
That's right. I'm going to fix this for Sony and for fans, and it's never going to happen. But here's how you fix this. Okay. All right. So you bought this thing. It's out there. It's on shelves. People are going to buy it. They're going to be disappointed. Some are going to be happy, but most people are disappointed with this thing. Or maybe it just doesn't sell at all.
Sure.
All right. Could be either. I don't know. It's the holiday season, so it could go either way. And so, okay, so here's what they're going to have to do. Sony is going to have to release another one of these. I know, right? It's crazy. They screwed up on the first one so badly. They're going to have to release the DualShock version, which is probably part of their plan already anyways. But they need to release the DualShock version, and it needs to have 30 games. And it needs to include a lot of these games.
There you go.
But now this is where it gets different. Well, no. Also, before it gets different, it also needs to cost $100.
There you go.
Despite the fact that it's DualShock controllers. So this is where you get the real fix in. Okay. But besides the fact that they actually make a good selection of 30 games, you're already kind of at a disadvantage because there were some great games on this first one, like Final Fantasy VII and Tekken 3 and stuff. You can't include those this time, and I'll get to that in a minute. So you have 30 games on the DualShock version. In fact, you make sure that some of those emphasize the analog and the DualShock, the rumble and the controller. But this time around, you do what no one has done yet, which is retarded. I'm sorry to use that term, but it is. You do what no one has done yet, and you make this next one accessible to plug into the internet, and to, depending on what level that they want to go with this. Maybe even have your PlayStation Plus account go into it, or maybe have access to all the PS1 games from PlayStation Now. I don't know. Maybe you go that far, maybe not. But the importance of that is there's multiple reasons for this. All right, first, everyone who bought the original PlayStation Mini, there's going to be some kind of serial number for that thing, right? It's going to be on the side or on the back. Right. It's probably on the bottom. All right, they're going to be able to plug in that code to whatever website this thing accesses to, and they're going to be able to get their 20 games that they bought with the first PlayStation Mini, and they're going to be able to download those onto the new one for free.
There you go.
And so now they have 50 games, and it's on a better console now. And so that's how you fix that. It's not 100. I mean, we're not talking like 100 money back, all right? But so. And again, the other thing that they need to do is they actually need to give this some support, and they need to temporarily allow the option for people to pay maybe $1 or $2 for a game or a series of games that came out on the PlayStation for maybe $3 or $4, and for a small amount of time, because Sony's not going to want to license things and pay for a license any longer than they need to. Maybe you'd offer it for a month or two and let people download these games so they can continue to get more classic games for their PlayStation.
Hey.
That is not a hard thing. I don't understand, I mean, does that fix it?
I mean,
Ian?
Dude, for what you have, dude, I'd gladly take that.
Right, you're right. I mean,
gladly.
So you don't buy the first one, but you buy the second one. It comes with 30 games. You have access to a library of games that you can pay for just a couple bucks to pay for a new one or whatever, and they rotate in different games that they have to license and stuff, maybe volumes of them in a whole trilogy or whatever. You pay a couple bucks for it. The original 20, you can purchase those for a couple bucks, but if you bought the other one too, you automatically get those. I think it's a good way to fix it. I think, and they can go from having at this point the crappiest mainstream mini console to the best one.
0 to hero.
That's right.
You know, and the writing's on the wall for that. It's not like Sony doesn't have the library or arsenal to do it. Some of the most beloved games, and that's not just my own perspective or, you know, Chris, others here, you know, I just think back, you know, over the last, you know, even 15 years or so, and just the amount of awesome games between PlayStation 1, especially PlayStation 1, not even counting the PlayStation 2, it's all the ammunition you need to have a very successful classic is there.
Right.
It's just about what you provide people, the options you give them, and you know, what they have access to, and not skimp on it. It's weird to me that Sony, being in the position they are, would just sort of dip on the PS1 of all things like this and just have it very released to the other classics. It's
The wrong person was in charge of this project. They need to not work at Sony anymore, and yeah, they need to go. No, never mind. I won't go that far. I won't go that far.
Good stuff.
But yeah, they need to not work there anymore, and someone else needs to be in charge of this project. And it's like, well, here's the money you made from all the bad choices the last guy made. Here's our projected earnings if you do something smart. And be like, whoa, look at all the extra money. It's, yeah, for all this stuff that you made 20 years ago.
I had to go and do something about the PlayStation Classic that I never imagined myself saying to close friends of mine or others who were on the fence about this or considering it. I remember when I first looked at this, I said, "Look, don't bother. Just don't.
Right.
You're better off sitting on the fence." And I said, "Look, if there's some really cool stuff you're going to play, just emulate." I said, "Well, what about, you know, Mega Man Legends and stuff? I really like that." I said, "Look, just go play an emulator, man, or, you know, go get your original system."
You might as well. That's exactly what you're playing. I mean, seriously, without any online support or anything, that is exactly what they're playing. In fact, that's less of what they're playing, because at least on their own computer, they have online support and they can download whatever they want.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what? So when my family comes over for Christmas this year, and we're going to be sitting in the living room, we're going to be playing on my NES Mini.
Hey, there you go.
We could be playing on something else. We could be playing on a PlayStation Mini, but you know what? No, I ain't gonna pay $100 for that.
Not happening.
Yeah, fix it, Sony. There, now give me the money, because I fixed your problem. I just want 1/10 of 1%. I fixed your problem. Just give me the money. You're welcome.
Would love to know also if you guys have checked this out. If you've looked into some of the games that are on this hidden quote-unquote archive. What do you guys think? Are there some games that you're more angry about, less mad about, that should have been there, shouldn't have been there, whatever else? Hey, we'd love to hear from you about that directly.
Still grumpy that Final Fantasy Tactics was not on that.
I know. And I can't tell you how many people I run into who say they love old school strategy games or they like the FF series, but they've either never played Tactics or, you know, never heard of it. I said, oh, you're missing out. That's what's one of the best strategy games PS1 had that I've ever played, period.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And oh well. The Gaming Awards. This is the event that we're just coming off of this year, and you know, this was my first time sitting down and watching some of this. Usually I catch all of it offhand, whatever gets, you know, like the big awards. And, you know, what's the one we all look for at Game of the Year? You know, that's always the big flagship thing. And that's usually all I know about these events, to be honest.
Overcooked 2.
What a spoiler.
It actually was on a list this year.
No, it did make it. That was the best part. But we had there are a number of categories here. And, you know, while we can't say that, I think I speak for us collectively here, that there's some stuff that we're really scratching our heads about, kind of raising an eyebrow that, wait, that beat that, really? Overall, we have a list here, I think, of games that we expected to make it, a lot of things we expected to see, some even, I think, overperformed in some areas. But I just want to take some time, walk through some of the categories, and check these out. Before I want to break this down real granular, though, I do want to mention the big guy. You look at the Game Awards, aka the Game of the Year, it was God of War. And when this came out, we had debated actually doing a Let's Play for that on this channel. We talked a bit about it. I think neither Chris or I actually picked it up, but this is just simply an epic scale game. I did actually sit down and watch a full play of it just to really see the story flow and everything of it. I think in the ways it departed from the old God of War games, it did a really good job. Narrative-wise, though, this really pulled people in. I think it did a lot, both in terms of gameplay and also in terms of the story it was telling of Kratos after all the crazy god-slaying events that he went through in all the previous games. So, major, massive game. I'm okay with that. It makes sense to me for that to get the game of the year.
Yeah,
game of the war.
No, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah. It fits, but it's important to look at the other nominees that were on that list as well. You had Celeste, Red Dead Redemption 2, of course, Monster Hunter World, and also Marvel's Spider-Man. All worthy of I think being in that nomination spot. All were.
You're going to hear Spidey Man a lot.
Oh yeah.
Used in a lot of categories.
I'm a little salty still, but I'll.
Yeah, I'll spoil it a little bit. Yeah, he was. I think Spider-Man was in more categories than any other game.
Yep.
Didn't win one of them.
Nope. Nominations left and right. In fact, I'm just going to throw that out. Let's go through some and hit. Let's see. For best game direction, there's Spider-Man. Best narrative, there's Spider-Man. Look at that. Best music score, there's Spider-Man. You know what? Best audio design, Spider-Man. SFX. Best vocal performance, vocal talent, Spider-Man. Nominated again. I mean, time and time again, this was there, but it just didn't bat full, and it just did go all the way to get the full award itself. But we knew it was obvious we were going to see this one nominated. But I'm shocked. I'm shocked. There's a couple of these categories that it didn't get. In fact, I'm gonna jump ahead and look at this one a bit because we're talking about Spider-Man. I want to go hear the Red Dead Redemption soundtrack now. I'm just gonna put that on as background music as I'm working and stuff, because that got the award. I mean,
didn't we even say that Spidey was gonna get nominated for a bunch of stuff and not win a single thing?
I think
didn't
we did.
Say that?
Yeah, we did. It's great. It's such a comedy of errors, man. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of the stuff around, best score. There's Spider-Man, there's God of War.
It should have gotten best voice acting and best score.
Definitely for voice acting.
At least. Yuri was awesome.
Yeah. Yuri hit such a cool note because in his performance, his range on Peter Parker, Spider-Man, I was hit with both the old school 90s cartoon as much as I was hit with some of the more current stuff, like as far as how jovial he was, like Andrew Garfield or like Tom Holland. I think he hit all those notes right, and he sort of brought those together to make, like, I heard him, I was like, yeah, that's Peter Parker, that's Spider-Man. Absolutely, and if I'm playing a game like that, that's what I want to be able to say.
You know why it didn't win, right?
Tell me.
Because no one can stand that Mary Jane. She's so worse in Turf Wars. Oh my God!
She in Turf Wars. Yeah.
I'm in the middle of fighting for my. That's all right. Let me tell you about what I'm doing. What?
Yeah, I know you're getting shot at. You're in a potentially lethal situation.
Isn't there one point where she's like, "Are you okay?" I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm asking because that's what you're supposed to do in a social setting. I say in Spider-Man 2 she gets killed.
Chris.
So we can get Gwen Stacy. They're gonna do a reversal, and they're gonna kill Mary Jane and bring Gwen Stacy.
Hey, we haven't seen Gwen yet, so
yeah, I'm calling it right there. That's what's gonna happen. I am gonna cheer. I can't stand her. I can't. She's horrible. And I remember we talked about this, and I was like, I don't think maybe Insomniac doesn't understand what they're doing here and how horrible she seems. But then I remember for the heist, I was like, no, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing with this kid. She's so bad to him.
She is.
God.
And you start, you look at it, would make her like that? Some of the motivations. Like, I mean, she openly talks about her reasons why. But then it's the thing I find, I guess, just such an oddball about that.
She dangles emotional fulfillment like a carrot on a stick.
Yeah. I mean, you hear all of that, but some of the very things that she talks about are the very things that she starts doing to Pete. So it's like, well, you're not really square in the circle here. Like,
I'm gonna put Spider-Man for PS4 in the hashtag #MeToo movement. That's there's a first part of that joke that no one's gonna get because it was talked about before we started recording.
Right.
Jeez, no, she's horrible, and that's why I didn't win anything, because subconsciously everyone's like, I don't want to give that.
I'm not
Mary Jane's so horrible.
Oh man,
she's so bad. God,
it's rough. It's rough. If you just watch through the playthroughs, you'll see what we mean. So, well, there's some other.
Yeah, I'm sorry, distracted.
No. Worthy distracted, dude. I love talking about Spidey. I have adored that game. It has just been a freaking godsend to play overall. It's awesome. So, there's a few categories that I don't remember, at least looking at other game shows before this, or because I usually only look at the major, like Game of the Year and stuff like that. But yeah, there are a few. I want to look at best ongoing game. Now I'm assuming by ongoing they mean best, continuous DLC. And this one was a little bit of a surprise to me. Going through the list here, the nominees were Destiny 2, No Man's Sky, Overwatch, Fortnite, and Rainbow Six. And you know what? Fortnite won. So on the one hand, there's Battle Royale, constant, new items and new content and stuff. But I am really surprised this beat Destiny. Like, Destiny 2's comeback has been major, and it's been well received by fans. Like, the people have loved the raid content. The stuff that's been released, what they've done with the story, it's been great. And they've set up a lot of cool stuff. Bungie's really been on it. But Fortnite is enough of a monster at this point. It just sort of felt like, wow, this thing's turned into the wormhole and sucking up awards now. Like, I don't actively play Fortnite, but I don't see that. A nomination, okay, but to win the category,
Yeah, I think it sends the wrong message.
Not feeling it. Not feeling it at all.
No, and it's fine, but no.
And then, your others here. Of course, God of War, Red Dead, is really racked up. I mean, best game direction, God of War as well. Best narrative, Red Dead 2. And then best, like I was saying earlier, best score to Red Dead 2, but also best audio design. Now, I want to zoom in on that because I adore the sound design element. Game that's so important. Most of the time, most of the focus in terms of audio goes to music, but it's the care put into that lock dropping on a concrete floor, the sound of like a metal boot as it just scrapes in a certain way on on pavement, or like on a steel surface if you're in a really tense moment, or it kind of hits just your left channel, or something's just built to oscillate over your right to your left. That's the stuff that really builds the atmosphere in a game. And, I know I'm not going to sit through Red Dead 2 to hear all of that, play it. And I know I'm looking at the nominees we've had here too. Spider-Man and Gears of War. Gears of War. God of War. They're right there, as well as Call of Duty. Then there's surprises too, like Forza Horizon. It's interesting to see a racing game in that category too. So, as the further down you go, though, some of the names are a little less familiar here, I think, was nominated. And there's one here that I've seen pop up a lot, like games for Impact, best indie game. I think that's the most important category to put this under. Celeste. I haven't played that. I don't have a whole lot on that one in my bag. Do you, Chris? No, I don't. I'm actually going to go take a look at it now. I'm shocked that I didn't come across this at PAX East. And in fact, I almost feel remiss now. Like I didn't spend enough time in the indie hall to, I guess, look more at this and see it coming. It just wasn't on my radar. So, but you got some others that really did some flashy stuff with art direction. I know the return of Abra Dinn got a couple of nominations, not just for best indie game, but it actually in the art category though it actually won. So that was pretty sweet. So you had the indie titles and also some smaller ones like best family game, a strategy game. Best family game was Overcooked 2. There you go. That was along with a bunch
That's right.
of Nintendo games, Mario Tennis, Super Mario Party, Nintendo Labo, Starlink. So a category I paid very close attention to, the best fighting game. That was, well, can't say I'm very surprised here. Dragon Ball Fighters. I mean, ArcSys killed it here. This game had crazy hype coming into it. It has effectively taken the place of Marvel vs. Capcom. That's where a lot of the crossover players have gone now. And it's just kind of ruling the house. The DLC, people have adored it. They've added to the roster. They've been actively doing fixes and stuff. So ArcSys is doing the kind of support that they always do for Guilty Gear, for BlazBlue, and other stuff. And they knocked it out of the park, this one. So I think that's deserved. I was really happy to see BlazBlue Cross Tag get a nomination. Street Fighter V, it's pretty obvious SF belongs in here. I don't mind Tekken not being here at all. I think as much as I talk up Tekken, Chris, the thing I agree with you here about it is there's something very formulaic about Tekken that you keep seeing. Like I see it pop up, and I can't help but think, like, I look back to when I picked up Tekken 4, and literally up to now, I'm pretty much thinking Tekken 4 with slightly different graphics and maybe some new characters, but like it's still that game. Like I feel like I'm still in the early 2000s with a lot of it. So.
Well, look, my favorite sandwich is still just a regular plain old peanut butter sandwich. Okay, but and it's been that way for decades. Doesn't make it a less of a thing. It's just a peanut butter sandwich. There's nothing else going on there. It's Tekken Day. Yeah. We were a peanut butter sandwich 20-some years ago. We're going to be a peanut butter sandwich 20-some years from now.
I think the wildest thing about Tekken is what I like to call the skeleton for each character, and by that, the basic set of moves governing character to character. The striking thing about it is they built up the roster, they built up the move list for each character, their flair and style, King, Armor King and stuff. But here's what always gets funny. You can play Ling Xiaoyu or King or whoever you want, but I guarantee you will have the same juggle animation when you get juggled. You will have the same type of kick in a lot of areas. You will have the same type of punch. And there's just a lot of these frame things that remain the same. It always kind of throws me off because here I am playing like a capoeira master, like Eddie. And then you do this like kind of really stiff looking punch and kick that like everybody else in the roster can do. And I don't think in any other fighting game I can think if that happens. Like everyone at least has a unique medium, a unique normal, a unique heavy, unique EXs and stuff like that. There's just that frame for Tekken that's always there. So I always kind of laugh. It's like, Eddie, capoeira master. Oh, wait, I'm slipping back into this stiff puncher kick. Jin Kazama. Kempo martial. Oh wait, stiff puncher kick. It's just, it plagues it. It's funny, and I think at this point they can't get rid of it. So, oh man, well, what are you gonna do though? Some of the others though for best RPG, Monster Hunter World managed to snag that, beating out Dragon Quest XI, Octopath Traveler, Pillars of Eternity 2, and Ni no Kuni Revenant Kingdom. I haven't touched Revenant Kingdom or Pillars of Eternity. I didn't know anything about those, but I know Dragon Quest and Octopath got really good accolades behind them. Can't forget to mention Mega Man did show up in the nominations category for Best Action Game, but that was beat out by Dead Cells that got the actual award. Along with that category was also Destiny 2, Far Cry 5, and again, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Lots of Call of Duty here. Then there were some others that I feel I'll never really have much of a take on, like VR. I'm not into the whole VR thing still. I have no idea what's going on in the VR scene, so I can't really make anything objective on that. But yeah, there was still a category for that. You even had a category for best mobile game. Curious what that was. It was Florence, something I never touched, but it's pretty much about a life's journey. Young lady who it's just kind of like done through text and like small puzzles and things like that you shift around, but it's just pretty much through career, love, life, and resolution. And I heard it got kind of panned for its resolution. A lot of people said it's kind of narcissistic, the end of it, but oh well. In Fortnite, in PUBG Mobile, and Reign's Game of Thrones was also in the category. So a lot here. A lot of different categories to go through. I think that the last important one to note to really look at was the best esports event that we had. And we're talking about the tournaments, the big major things that draw gamers. Of course, EVO was in this list. And you also had the E-League Major, the International 2018. But there's one that won that, okay, I guess I'm just overlooking the crowd for it. League of Legends. Look, I know it's a big game, but again, if you don't know, this has its own specific event to it, a major championship event. EVO has steadily been growing. Every year it gets larger. I will begrudgingly accept it being beaten this time. I don't think in years from now it's going to be, though. At this rate, I don't see how EVO doesn't get the event of the year. So, just me. But I wish. So, as far as the other stuff here, Chris, I don't know if there's anything else that in any categories that really jumped out to you as that shouldn't have won or that should have or anything else.
I think that it was not even 5 years ago. There was a few different video game award shows,
right?
And this seems to be the only major one that's left, and it's not even on TV anymore. I look at some of the listings for some of these, and some of these categories seem really light as far as the options for best whatever. I look at some of these lists, and it feels like they're pandering to people in some ways, and in other ways by quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if this is. Overall, I'm kind of disgusted with. Kind of disgusted with this VGA. It's not just the Spider-Man thing. I mean, that's a shame. It should have won in a couple categories. I don't really care though.
Right.
I don't get any extra money because they won that. So,
exactly.
Unlike the Sony thing, which I do expect checks for that.
Yeah.
So,
fixing all the probs.
Yeah, but do better. Do a better job.
Yeah.
This is quit pandering. I mean, that's like the last. That's like the last thing you should be doing, when you're giving out awards, and that's the whole thing. If your award is not taken seriously, then you got problems. And there's in some of these lists you can really see it's like, well, this didn't really need to be a thing, or this feels really light, or really they won against such and such. Yeah. You gotta do better. You gotta do better.
What is that? What is that they say? The main call sign for Marvel Spider-Man. What is that? Be greater.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Be greater. With great power comes great responsibility. You let down Uncle Ben this time.
See. You not only let the crook get away, you let down Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Well. Hey, there's also, you can't have a gaming event without some kind of hype or some kind of awesome trailer, and this event was not remiss from that. I think this is super important to mention. So this is something we've been waiting for all year, and it's been whispered that we're gonna see it at Combo Breaker. Didn't happen. We're gonna see it at CEO. We're gonna see it at EVO. It constantly evaded the radar. NetherRealms or E3. NetherRealms stayed out of the way. Ez stayed out of the way, but not here. Finally, at the end of 2018. Mortal Kombat 11. We got the trailer for it.
Yep. And there were other games that were announced as well.
Right.
Far Cry, and I think Fallout as well.
Right.
But yeah, this obviously stole the show.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11. We've been waiting a long time for this. If you listen to the show regularly, and you probably don't, because we don't get a lot of views for it. Yet, anyways. I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. One of my highlights for my gaming time was that I used to play this at a tournament level. And so, I've been anxiously and eagerly awaiting for news on Mortal Kombat. We were supposed to get it about half a year ago. We did not. And there were rumors leading into the VGA's last Thursday, that a trailer was going to drop. And even Ed Boon came out and was like, hey, what are you talking about? What are we talking about over here? We ain't showing nothing. And yes, they did. It was a cool surprise. It was really neat, even though most of us knew it was going to happen. But the way they did. The trailer's nuts. It's nuts.
It's wild, man.
I mean, these guys should be dead 10 times over, each of them. But apparently, they're in Highlander rules now, where the head must come off the body in order for them to be dead. I mean, who's to say? I'm going to do a breakdown on this thing, and hopefully it'll be out Monday. But this is a section that we've been waiting to open up on this channel for a long time, because it's freaking Mortal Kombat, and I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and so we're gonna, it's gonna get fleshed out. It's gonna be a big thing. We're gonna be doing this up to and then during the game when it comes out. But yeah, so you can't. Overall, though, it's cool, but it's symbolic. It doesn't mean a lot. Just like the last trailer for MKX when it came out, there's no story plot in that. That encounter between Scorpion and Sub-Zero never even happens.
No.
It doesn't tell you anything about the story. It does show, if there's anything to be taken out, it's that if you were to use MKX as a guideline for what this trailer is showing you, is that it shows X-rays again. It shows it's going to be very brutal.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get your fatalities. It's going to be hyper realistic. So maybe there's something to take away as far as gameplay. I think maybe there's a couple things in here you could take away as far as some story elements. The fact that there's 2 Scorpions is really weird. That can go in a few different directions. Some of which I'm hopeful for, others I'm not.
Right.
But you can't read too much into this. We really have to wait another month, because they announced it. What do they call it? The fan celebration thing or something like that.
Yeah.
In January 17th. But it looks really cool. It looks like weapons are going to be playing a bigger role. There's most likely that something's going to be either time travel or different dimension related. I'm really actually hoping that those two aren't happening. The mishmash kind of sloppiness of the previous timeline for Mortal Kombat. A character's dead, now he's not. A character's dead, now he's not. They really did away with that with MK9, and neither were sticking to their guns. Going into 10, it's like, no, those characters died in the last one, and you're not going to see them. And even when you did see them, they did a big switcheroo where when they announced them, they showed their alternate skins. Like, actually, no, they're dead, and they're revenants, and they're bad. So they showed Liu Kang, but then when you got the games, like, oh, Liu Kang's actually a revenant, and he's evil. And they did a lot of that. So there was some switcheroo, but it was appropriate for the story. And, if they're going to start doing time travel and other dimensions and stuff, there could be something cool that could be done with that. But they've really gone to some great lengths to give this current storyline, this current timeline, some integrity. And I hope they stay with it, because I think that's really cool. Even though it's meant the death of my favorite character.
Oof.
Two games ago, I'd still prefer that they stick with the integrity of what they're doing.
Right. Man.
And yes, that is Curtis Stryker.
I was about to say.
And for you common folk, you go ahead and laugh. That's all right. The hardcore gamers know damn well why he was.
That nightstick upside the head's got a different story.
That's right. People who know why Curtis Stryker was my guy.
I really hope that this is an MK you really get into. I hope it's awesome and something that you pick up and really dig.
Mortal Kombat's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been fun. We've been down a long road together, Mortal Kombat and I. Sometimes the trip's been good, sometimes the trip's not been so good.
Cool. Now, real quick, I do find it interesting that you had zero problem transitioning from mainly doing like arcade to having a D-pad.
Oh Jesus, this again.
I'm not going to go too far into it, but
I mean, how is that surprising? I grew up with both.
Well, not at all. I didn't grow up in the arcade. That was the thing. I played some crossovers and stuff there, like X-Men vs. Street Fighter, early, Marvel vs. Capcom and all that stuff, but we don't have quite the same experience there. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of people who start one way who just stick with it because that's what they're used to, but that's cool. You can, there's no it depends just how comfortable you are. There's no inherent advantage. Aha, I have an arcade stick, therefore no. I understand that. I just think it's kind of cool that you started one way, but it's like whatever. No, you just shrugged it off. I know a lot of people who have problems just shrugging that off, and just transitioning. So
I prefer the D-pad, but if I was in front of a cabinet and a game, I could probably use the D-stick.
Cool.
Without, or the stick, the arcade stick, without too much of trouble at all.
Cool.
It's been primarily D-pad for many years now, but when I was at my peak at fighting games, it was in the arcades, taking on smelly kids, or kids with his. My favorite was guys showing up with their chick, thinking they were awesome with Sub-Zero or Cabal in Mortal Kombat 3, and just I'm picking the geekiest guy and just smashing their face over and over and over and over. It's like, you're not getting laid now, buddy.
Oof. I was saying this to you too. I'd love to see you come to if you're really into this, if it's really a thing, I'd love to see you come to Combo Breaker or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll see. As far as trailers though, there was another pretty important story trailer for this. Anthem got a story trailer drop that actually elaborated just a little bit more in the world and stuff. Also, the Anthem beta, I believe, is out. The open for people playing this weekend.
For 25 minutes.
Yeah, for 25 minutes. Goodbye. Seriously, the windows are kind of annoying. It's open in spurts of like a couple hours at a time, at different times. I know there's one that started, I think, at like 10 Central today. Today is in December 8th. And I don't know where the rest of the windows are, but I said, no thanks. I'll just wait till the whole thing comes out. So.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, guys.
Why are you playing red light, green light with your fans? I don't understand.
Open, close. Oh, never mind. Oh, well. What can I say? Well, I do. That's going to bring me to an info minute, though. Another thing we talked about like AI takeover.
Oh yeah, no, our evil robot overlords. I've already sent them a letter, told them, look, I am waiting for you, and I'm ready.
I mean, you're already expecting it here. I'm gonna send this over to you just so you have this in form of video to see.
Visual aids.
Visual aids. Yeah, I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow in this one. Not the people's eyebrow, but an eyebrow nonetheless.
Oh, is this the news thing?
Yeah.
I've seen this. This is, yeah.
You may have
this
seen
is freaky.
Yeah, it's really freaky. It popped up. Now this is regards in China. There's an AI news anchor that made its debut, and this is some spooky, might be really spooky stuff. This was specifically, it went over my radar for a bit, but this was just nearly in the last month where we actually saw this. So the news agency is called the Xinhua News Agency. And specifically, they have an AI anchor that's actually modeled specifically and localized after the news anchor itself. And it's just kind of surreal with the whole way they did, like, the face reconstruction and everything like that. I was like, am I living in Ghost in the Shell for a sec here? But essentially what they did is they took the photo-like facial features and really put those over a body template, animated all of those, and really just put the amount of time and data and resources into this to really give a newscast without anybody actually being there. This was a joint venture. It's designed by a Chinese search engine company called Sogo.com. There's also some other reports that this wasn't going to get out the gate in the first place, but there it is. I mean, so what are the advantages? Well, now you got a news anchor that can go 24/7, no stop. It could be on social media platforms and other places at once. Don't have to worry about getting dinner. Don't have to worry about, that annoying thing called sleep or scheduling or all that weird stuff. But
yeah,
I look at the delivery here. There's something about this, I think, for more than a couple minutes that gets a little hard to watch here. It's sort of flat, sort of single paced. Even when you're just zoning out watching news. There's an emphasis on certain things. There's a rhythm to, you know, bringing up the articles of the day, the story of the day, the story of the world, or whatever else it is. And I just think there's something lost in translation with that. I mean, look, I very well accept, sure, flying cars and, you know, AIs delivering our news. Okay, whatever, could be a thing at some point, but right now this feels a little awkward. I don't see this just going mass or viral to every station. So.
Right. So I think there's two major things with this. So I just want to make sure to clarify from what you said. This is not animatronics. This is CGI.
Right.
Okay. So there are two major things here. Possibly even if it was animatronics, same two things. One, like you said, there's a lack of personality there. People want that. I mean, look, whether you're a fan or not, the personality plus, the opinion plus of Fox News is the number one rated cable news show for a reason.
Right.
They want the personality that comes with that. They want some opinion. All right. So there's a reason for that. The second thing is, it is costing more for them to have to do that CGI than it is to hire somebody to sit in the chair.
Yeah.
And read it off. So we're still far away. And I was going to say, even if it's animatronics, you'd have to look at the long-term maintenance that would have to be done to something like that. I still don't think it would end up being cost-effective.
No, definitely.
So, yeah, we're still far away yet. So the evil robot overlords won't be here quite yet. It's going to be a little bit of time yet. But, hey, you know, once this stuff gets cheaper, you're done.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah. They're gonna get you through Fortnite first. Then they're gonna come for you through Pokemon.
First Battle Royale, then the Pokeball.
Yep.
Oh man.
And when they hit Pornhub, it's done.
It's over. It's over.
Before you even knew it. Before you even knew what happened, it's just done.
Oh man. Oh man. That's going to bring us to the end. Another show. Hey, look, thank you all for hanging with us again. If you've listened all the way here to the end of this point, hey, you reached the end of the road for now.
And you should like and subscribe. Reward you and me both.
Yeah. You want to keep hearing this stuff? You want our Let's Plays and all that? Well, hey, every like, every comment, every subscribe you guys bring us over, including your views, gives us a ton of help. So please, get the word out there. Come on and check out some other things that if you haven't looked at in our channel, the rest of the Let's Plays and our other reviews that we have. Plenty more of that coming for you as we wrap out 2018.
Ian.
Yes, Chris.
What is next weekend?
Next weekend is kind of an awesome weekend because it's you want me to say it?
We named it.
You say it. It's going to sound cooler.
It's Animation Weekend.
There you go.
And cartoons
everywhere.
I am going to the movie theaters in my morning jammers with a bowl of cereal, and I'm going to go watch Into the Spider-Verse. Just like it's Saturday morning cartoons.
And we're finally going to get that next part of Voltron.
We're not just the next part.
That's
the last part of Voltron.
That's it. Done.
I'm going to cry through the whole review. Maybe. I don't know. Probably. I'm very sad about it.
So, tune in. There's going to be some major feels. I've wanted Spider-Verse. That's my Spider-Man cap-off event for the year of a 2018 full of Spidey stuff. And then Voltron in the Netflix run bad.
Yep.
But that will be on the flip side. So, hey, you've heard it here, folks. We'll see you again next week. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you soon. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it would be great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.